Hello and welcome to Conquered with your girl, Miss Shally. Ladies, you are going to love the man in the house today. He was the biggest musician in 2012 on the Vodacom music downloads. His song, Over the Moon, was the second most downloaded song after Rihanna, Diamonds. That has made him the biggest local artist with that much downloads. The one and only Donald.
Yes, hi,
Welcome.
Miss Shally. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
It's good to
Good.
have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I'm really honored to be here.
Donald, you started at an early age singing hymns
Yeah.
in the church.
Yes.
How old were you then?
Jeez, man. I mean, it's such a long time ago. It's very difficult for one to kind of pinpoint exactly, the year or the age, But I think I might have been anything, and somewhere, anywhere between 9 and 14, anywhere around there. I used to sing in church. My mother was actually a church choir conductor. She's a choral master. She studied choral music, so she kind of put me in church. She put me in Sunday school, and she put me in a church choir also. So that's pretty much, I guess, where I could say the music thing started.
Did your mom know before then that you were a good singer? Or she just found out when you were singing in the choir?
No, I think my mother knew that I was a good singer even before I knew that I was a singer. Your mother always knows, the little talents you have way ahead of time, way before everyone else. And I think because she's such a musician, she's so passionate about music, and that's why she went and did chorale music and studied chorale music. So I think she's the first person that kind of knew that I could sing, but she didn't want to, she really didn't want to just necessarily push me towards that direction. She wanted me to be the one that wants to do it. So when she realized that I actually really want to do this, she kind of started putting me in the channels.
And how did she start to put you in those channels?
I mean, pretty much just like any other singer, she put me first in Sunday school. And with Sunday school, there was always the Sunday school choir, and she made sure that I was part of the Sunday school choir. She was part of the senior choir, the big choir with the older people. So she would always come through to the Sunday school choir and check how everything's going, whether I am singing and all of that. And somewhere, somehow, she then decided to get me to start, to get me to be part of the senior choir while I was still very young, and I think it was just a way for her to try and test my love for music or the level of talent that I had. So that's pretty much where it started, and from then on I started running my own race.
And when you said you started to run your own race, what exactly were you doing to move a step closer to achieving your goal in music?
I mean, generally I wouldn't say that I had planned to do music as a profession. That's not necessarily what I thought would, ultimately happen. But I sang in almost every single school that I went to. I went to a couple of schools, and I was always known as that guy who sings. When you're popular in school, you're popular for something. Some people are popular for sports. Some people are popular for being smart. Well, I was also smart, I was also popular for that. But I was known, mainly for being the guy who sings. And it was, I guess, when, with talent, you're not always aware of yourself. People are aware of what you have or how special it is before you are even aware. So I saw myself, every single school that I went to, people always treat me different because of my talent. And I think over the years, and that's when I realized that, what, maybe, just maybe, there might be something here. Yeah.
Okay, so it was through singing in, you said, whichever school you went to,
Yes,
you made sure you were singing.
Yeah, like I'd be the guy who sang on Valentine's Day. I'd be the guy who's singing at, the pageants, Master and Mrs. whatever school that I was in. I'd be that guy singing at every single, school event that was there. If they needed some sort of entertainment, I was always one of those guys.
Is that how it ended up landing you to doing backing vocalist for the great South African musicians?
How that started was, I actually started as a recording artist first before I started backing. So I had an album with a group called Muso. I started in a group first. I was a group member, and you know, with two of my other friends, my old friends. I think I was probably 18 when I started doing that. We recorded an album. We recorded with one of the biggest legends, you know, in this country by the name of Silalo Solota. He's a great guitarist in this country, and you know, he took us under his wing, recorded an album with us, and then, you know, we started performing for thousands and thousands of people. You know, we just went from, you know, performing in, you know, in our school things and just in the corners and in our bedrooms to performing for thousands and thousands of people. And I think, you know, when that journey started, and that's when you do something and you realize every single day how much this is actually what you were born to do. So that's pretty much where it started. And eventually, when the group thing didn't work out, I decided to find a different strategy to learning a bit more about how the industry works. Because I think as young people, we put in this situation, we never necessarily know what to expect about the industry. We don't know the ins and outs. We just know we want to be famous, you know, or we want to be rich, but we don't know what it actually takes, you know. So I had to take some time, take a few steps back, from being in front, be in the background, and learn from the background. That's where the backing vocalist thing started. You know, I met Malaika, who introduced me to every other artist that I started working with. I worked with people like Kelly Kumalo, Kwela Debza, you know, Slicker, and ultimately I got a chance to work with Zonke, who was actually the last artist I worked with as a backing vocalist.
Okay, so it was through, you didn't, let's say you got it a bit easy. Through Malaika introducing you to all these people, that's how you managed to get the backing vocalist jobs.
Yes, it started with them. I did backing vocals for Malaika first, but I wouldn't say easy. Hey, jeez, it was tough, man. You know, it was tough. I mean, at some point, I realized that I knew all these artists in this industry, some of the biggest artists in the industry, but I still had nothing. You know, and I would wonder, I would ask myself, you know, what is it that I've done? You know, where did I go wrong? You know, what decisions did I do wrong? And I thought, you know, sometimes you are in the right place at the wrong time. And I think that was the case with me, and I needed to kind of find a different strategy.
When you say sometimes you're in the right place, but at the wrong time, can you just tell us more about that? What do you mean at the wrong time?
I think wrong time, you know, when things are not working out, that means the timing is not right. So everything has to happen in God's time. That is the right time, you know. God knows what time is good for people to, you know, now start getting the best of you, you know, the best of your talent. But ultimately, as hard as it gets, you know, one thing that I learned over this, you know, these years was that it can be delayed, but it won't be denied. You know, if it's something that you're meant to achieve, you will achieve it. It might take a little long, but eventually you will achieve it.
Yeah, and what is interesting with really your story, you had an opportunity to build a career in soccer.
Yes,
You were playing for the under-19 Wits University and Jomo Cosmos as well.
Yeah.
And what happened to that?
Man, you know, that was actually quite an emotional, you know, roller coaster for me, because I was so in love with soccer. I mean, I've been playing soccer for so many years. You know, I pushed the soccer and the music thing basically parallel to each other. You know, and I did have dreams of becoming a professional soccer player, because at some point I didn't think that me being someone who comes from an R&B background, I would make it in South Africa, because R&B had proven in South Africa that it doesn't really sell that much if it's done by a South African, but Americans would always be able to sell. But here in South Africa, it was always really difficult. So I thought I'd be a soccer star, but ultimately, when I started seeing the light with regards to music, I realized that that is what was my calling. Music was my calling over and above anything, and you know, I needed to let go of the soccer dream, because I really wanted to pursue the music thing. So that's pretty much what happened at some point after under 19, because now things were getting really serious. After under 19, you start getting promoted to like train with the first team, you know, and the next thing you know, you playing the PSL. I didn't want to end up there because then I wouldn't be able to ever be able to get a chance to pursue my music thing. So yeah, man, I had to make a really tough decision. It was really tough. I remember that day when I decided, this is it. I'm not continuing with soccer. It was really emotional for me.
You had your first big break when you signed with DJ Cleo. And how did he get to know who Donald was?
I mean, Cleo, I think, you know, he tested me a few times because he saw me, he heard what I could do as a vocalist, and he invited me to his studio once. I recorded with him, but it was just like a little, you know, like a you could say a session. I was doing a vocal session for one of his songs, and I think that way, with him recording me in the studio, he was testing to see what kind of a, first of all, what kind of a character I am, and how talented I really am, and after that, I think 3 months after we did the session, he called me, and he pretty much asked me to be part of his label. That's pretty much how it happened.
And you later on decided to start your own thing. What motivated you to say, okay, I'm leaving DJ Cleo, which, you know, being a big brand as he is, and taking the risk of starting your own thing?
You know, it's one of those things, man. You know, trials and tribulations in life. They say the bigger the risks, the bigger the reward. You know, it sounds like just words, but